Hi everyone. In the video game market, success often seems predictable. Major publishers invest millions in development and marketing, hiring armies of marketers to ensure their projects reach the top of the sales charts. But sometimes, something incredible happens. A game from indie developers, one that no one had even heard of during its development, suddenly becomes a hit. These are the games I will talk about in this video. I want to start with Helldivers 2, the most recent example of such a phenomenon. This game, developed by the relatively unknown studio Arrowhead Game, a subsidiary of Sony, seemed doomed to fail. Even the publisher didn't believe in its success, limiting the marketing campaign to a bare minimum. The game was developed on an engine that had already been discontinued before work even began. The development team was unknown to the general public. It seemed like the game would simply go unnoticed. But then, the unexpected happened. It turned out that the market had long been missing a high-quality co-op shooter. Players enthusiastically embraced Helldivers 2. Its engaging gameplay, constantly updated content, and ironic approach to storytelling quickly made it a hit. Factorio. This is a prime example of a game finding its audience. The developers recognized something that many had overlooked. In real-time strategy games, many players enjoy not just fighting, but also building and developing infrastructure. They took this idea and perfected it, creating a game entirely focused on construction and automation. Who would have thought that a simple concept, build a factory to build even more factories, would captivate players so much? But Factorio blew up. Gamers became deeply engrossed in optimizing production chains, creating complex logistics systems, and battling alien life forms threatening their industrial empires. Without a massive marketing campaign, relying solely on word of mouth and positive reviews, the game quickly gained a dedicated fanbase. Hollow Knight. When three friends from Australia, working under the name Team Cherry, released their first game in 2017, few expected it to become one of the greatest Metroidvania games of all time. Hollow Knight is not just a platformer, it's a deep, dark, and mesmerizing tale of the Kingdom of Hallownest, filled with mysteries, secrets, and dangerous creatures. Players take control of a nameless knight, exploring an underground world full of enemies, traps, and hidden lore. The game is renowned for its challenging combat system, intricate level design, and incredible atmosphere. But the most astonishing aspect is its sheer scale. Despite a modest budget and a small development team, the game turned out to be massive. Dozens of hours of gameplay, challenging bosses, a deep ability system, and several free expansions made it a true treasure for fans of the genre. Slay the Spire. How do you turn a card game into one of the most addictive gaming experiences? The small indie studio Megacrit, consisting of just 2 people, found the answer. Their game, Slay the Spire, combines roguelike mechanics with deck building, creating a truly unique gaming experience. The premise is simple. Choose a hero, climb the mysterious spire, and defeat all enemies along the way using a deck of cards. However, every run is unpredictable. Events, relics, and even the cards themselves appear randomly, forcing players to adapt and adjust their strategies on the fly. Today, this game is considered a genre-defining masterpiece, inspiring dozens of developers to create similar games. The Long Dark. Survival games are often associated with zombies, mutants, or post-apocalyptic settings. But The Long Dark proved that nothing is scarier than nature itself. This game was developed by the Canadian studio Hinterland Studio, with the main goal of creating the most realistic survival experience in the wilderness. The story begins with a global geomagnetic disaster, leaving the player stranded in the freezing Canadian forests. There are no monsters or post-apocalyptic raiders, just snow, hunger, wild animals, and the endless struggle to stay alive. Unlike other games in the genre, where survival is just one of many mechanics, here it is the central focus of the gameplay. This hardcore approach and the game's unique atmosphere have made it a cult classic among survival enthusiasts. Deep Rock Galactic. If someone had said that a co-op shooter about space mining dwarves would become a hit, no one would have believed them. But the Danish studio Ghost Ship did exactly that, creating one of the most original and entertaining co-op games in recent years. In Deep Rock Galactic, players take on the role of dwarves working for a megacorporation. Their job? To descend into dangerous caves on asteroids, mine rare minerals, and fight off hordes of insect-like enemies. The gameplay revolves around teamwork. One dwarf digs tunnels, another lights the way, a third protects the team, and the fourth extracts resources. A vast variety of mission types, procedurally generated levels, destructible environments, and a humorous tone have made this game incredibly popular. Don't Starve. Canadian studio Cly Entertainment is known for its unconventional projects, but it was Don't Starve that took them to the next level. The protagonist finds himself in a strange, dark world full of dangers. The environment is filled with bizarre creatures, mysterious rituals, and inexplicable events. By day, the player gathers resources and builds a base, but at night, the real nightmare begins. Monsters come out to hunt, and darkness itself becomes an enemy. What makes this game truly special is its unique visual style, resembling a living, hand-drawn animation. The secret to Don't Starve's success lies in its deep gameplay and endless possibilities. Every new playthrough is unique, and over time, the developers added a co-op mode, making the game even more popular. Risk of Rain. When two students from the University of Washington set out to create a roguelike game, they had no idea they would develop one of the most recognizable titles in the genre. Risk of Rain is an action platformer with roguelike elements where time works against the player. The longer you stay in a level, the harder the game becomes. Enemies grow stronger, new bosses appear, and every mistake could mean death. The first installment, released in 2013, was a success, but Risk of Rain 2 became a true hit, transitioning to 3D while retaining the core mechanics. Now, players could team up in groups of up to 4, explore strange planets, uncover artifacts, and survive relentless waves of enemies. Terraria. When Terraria launched in 2011, many dismissed it as a 2D Minecraft clone. But over time, it became clear that this was an entirely different game. A small team of developers created a project that blended sandbox gameplay with RPG elements, platforming, and survival mechanics. However, what truly sets it apart is the sense of progression. At first, the player wields a wooden sword and fears every monster. But over time, they gather rare materials, battle massive bosses, construct entire cities, and even build space stations. The sheer amount of content in the game is staggering. Hundreds of weapons, dozens of NPCs, thousands of items, and procedurally generated worlds have made Terraria one of the most beloved indie games of all time. Hades. Supergiant Games was already well known for Bastion and Transistor, but Hades was their true breakthrough. This roguelike puts players in the role of Zagreus, the son of Hades, as he attempts to escape the underworld. But Hades isn't just an action-packed game, it features one of the most immersive narratives in the roguelike genre. Every failed run isn't just a setback, it's a new chapter in the story. Characters remember your attempts, comment on them, and the dialogue slowly unveils a fresh perspective on Greek mythology. On top of that, Hades boasts one of the best combat systems in the genre. Fast-paced, dynamic battles, unique abilities granted by Olympian gods, and countless weapon and skill combinations. With constant updates, tons of content, and a stunning visual style, Hades didn't just become a hit, it was crowned Game of the Year by multiple publications. Phasmophobia. Fear is a powerful tool, and Kinetic Games, composed of a single developer, proved it with Phasmophobia. This co-op horror game puts players in the shoes of ghost hunters investigating abandoned houses, schools, and asylums, trying to identify what kind of spirit they are dealing with. The game's standout feature is voice recognition. Ghosts can hear what players say and react accordingly. Say the ghost's name, and it might get angry and start hunting. Hide in a closet and whisper for mercy, and the ghost just might open the door and end your game. Released in 2020, Phasmophobia quickly became a viral sensation on Twitch and YouTube, with millions of players and streamers screaming in terror live on camera. The game continues to receive updates, adding new ghosts and hunting tools. Valheim. Swedish indie studio Iron Gate, consisting of just 5 people, managed to create one of the most popular survival games of all time. Valheim throws players into a mystical Viking world where they must build, explore, gather resources, and fight mythical creatures. What made Valheim so successful? A massive procedurally generated world, deep crafting and combat systems, and 10-player co-op all contributed to its rise in popularity. But the most surprising aspect is the game's atmosphere. Valheim is filled with mysteries, hidden biomes, vast oceans, and ancient rituals. Within weeks of its early access launch, it sold over 5 million copies, a phenomenal achievement for such a small team. Inscryption. This indie project is a psychological horror game with roguelike and puzzle elements that constantly subverts player expectations. The story begins with you trapped in a cabin with a mysterious being who forces you to play a strange card game. But these aren't just ordinary cards, they're sentient creatures that can talk to you and even beg you not to sacrifice them. The deeper you go, the more you realize that the game hides a much darker secret. Inscryption constantly shifts genres, breaks the fourth wall, and plays with the player's perception, making them question reality itself. It's a unique experience that's difficult to describe. Just know that you'll never forget the unsettling and mesmerizing world of Inscryption. Subnautica. The ocean is a place of both beauty and terror, and Subnautica proved that underwater survival can be just as thrilling as any post-apocalyptic wasteland. Developed by indie studio Unknown Worlds, the game drops players onto an alien planet covered entirely by water. After your spaceship crashes, you must explore the vast ocean, scavenge for resources, and uncover the planet's secrets. But the ocean isn't just a pretty backdrop. In the shallow waters, everything seems peaceful, but the deeper you go, the more terrifying it becomes. Enormous sea creatures lurk in the darkness, and oxygen is always running low. Subnautica was praised for its immersive atmosphere, detailed world, and unique approach to survival. There are no guns, no easy way to fight back. Instead, survival depends on wit, exploration, and understanding the ecosystem. The forest. Surviving a plane crash is already a nightmare, but the forest takes it to another level with some of the most terrifying cannibals in gaming. At first, the island seems like a typical survival setting. Gather resources, build a shelter, hunt for food. But soon, things take a horrifying turn. The island's inhabitants are intelligent and disturbingly realistic mutants. They watch you, study your behavior, attack in groups, and even seek revenge if you kill one of their own. Their AI is so advanced that it often feels like the game is using next-generation technology. And the deeper you go into the island's cave systems, the more horrifying the creatures become. With its nerve-wracking tension, intriguing story, and unexpected twists, the forest became one of the scariest and most popular survival horror games ever made. Darkest Dungeon. Few games can capture the atmosphere of hopelessness and fear as effectively as Darkest Dungeon. This turn-based RPG sends you to a cursed estate filled with ancient horrors. You control a group of mercenaries, sending them into dark dungeons in search of glory and treasure. But what makes the game unique is that the horror isn't just experienced by the player, it also affects the characters themselves. Each hero has a psychological state that deteriorates as they endure nightmarish encounters. The more they witness death, monsters, and darkness, the closer they come to madness. They might panic, lose their sanity, refuse to follow orders, or even attack their own allies. The game quickly won the hearts of hardcore players and became a cult classic. Project Zomboid. If you're looking for the best zombie apocalypse survival game, this is it. Project Zomboid is the most realistic zombie survival simulator out there. There are no epic storylines, no main protagonist, and no hope for saving humanity. Your goal is simple: Survive as long as possible, and you will die. The only question is when. Every playthrough starts with character creation and a choice of starting location. Project Zomboid stands out with its incredible depth of mechanics. Zombies react to sound and light, houses can be barricaded, and any building might become your last refuge. With each update, the game continues to improve, making the survival experience even more immersive. RimWorld. Created by a single developer, RimWorld is a colony simulator built around random events and character interactions. You start with a handful of survivors who have crash-landed on an unknown planet. It's up to you to manage every aspect of their lives: construction, resource gathering, defense against raiders, and even personal relationships between colonists. But the real magic lies in the random events. Each playthrough unfolds as a unique story, where a single bad decision can lead to the complete downfall of your colony. RimWorld is a machine for generating endless stories, which is why it's often called one of the best simulation games of all time. Lethal Company. Who would have thought that a co-op horror game about scrap metal collection would become one of the most popular games of 2023? Developed by a solo creator, Lethal Company puts players in the role of workers for a mysterious corporation that sends people to abandoned lunar stations. The goal is simple: collect valuable scrap and stay alive. Each location hides different monsters that react to sound, light, and player behavior. Some creatures attack immediately, others play hide and seek, and some simply observe and wait. Both hilarious and terrifying, Lethal Company proved that even the simplest ideas can turn into a gaming phenomenon. All these games started as projects from small studios with no massive budgets. Yet through talent, originality, and the developers' passion for their work, they became true hits. Which of these games do you like the most? Or maybe you discovered something new. The Image Game Channel was with you. Have a nice day.